you are a creator as well, right? Like you do post a lot of shorts on Instagram. So tell me a little bit about that as well.
As you mentioned, the creator side and the artist side, there was no thin line difference. They were all just becoming as one. I was subconsciously aware of that, okay, what is happening, but I was not able to come out of that mode. Starting your design journey without a mentor is something like you are just shooting your shot without knowing where the goal is. And I'm like, yeah, graphic design is okay, but product designing is something through which, your ideas and the solutions that you present can be actually useful to the users in actually solving their problems.
What's up, Praful? Welcome to the show. How's it going?
All good, Abhinav. How are you? How are you doing?
Doing awesome. Excited for this episode. Praful, you know what? I know a lot of people, of course, today know you from your shorts, right? From your creative work. But can we get started from the top? Like, I want to know, when did you kind of get started with design, but also why?
Yeah. So for me, as an artist, I already was used to, portraying my ideas through my artworks. But I also wanted to I was fascinated with design because I wanted to see how through design I can communicate something, right? Because as I've seen a lot of designers, they communicate their ideas just by visuals. And in a painting, painting is more led to interpretation for the audience. Like the audience can interpret however it is. But through designs, designers design solutions and they communicate solutions. So I wanted to figure out or find out an effective tool or an effective medium through which I also could do the same thing. And then I thought maybe I could try graphic designing. But while I was going through YouTube and figuring out graphic design stuff, I came across your YouTube channel and I came across product
Mm,
designing in general. So like all in all, product designing was introduced to me by your YouTube channel.
nice.
I saw
Nice.
your playlist, I saw some of the podcasts, and I saw some of the
Mm,
long recordings, and I saw your playlist on how to get started with UX, the earlier playlist that you launched, right?
yeah.
So I got interested. I'm like, yeah, graphic design is okay, but product designing is something through which you can, your ideas and the solutions that you present can be actually useful to the users in, actually
Mm,
solving their problems, the real life problems. And that problem solving aspect and communicating the ideas through visuals, these two aspects is what has fetched my inclination towards design. And that's how I was like, okay, I should actually give it a shot in with design. So I didn't struggle or I didn't figure out any way to learn it because I knew your cohort was gonna come up. So I just patiently waited and watched your YouTube channels and figured out, a little bit on my own and what I could do before the cohort starts.
mm.
So
Nice. And when was this? Like, what else was going on in your life? When exactly was this time?
So luckily, this was 2 months before you were actually about to launch the cohort. So this was, I guess,
Mm,
in August, mid-August or August beginning, where I was actually looking out to have a shift in my career because I was kind of doing good as an artist, but I also wanted to explore what else I could do as a designer as well. I wanted someone to help me get started. So I was just on the lookout of, who can help me get started with design because obviously starting your design journey without a mentor is something like, just running with aim, without an aim, just you are just
mm,
shooting your shot without knowing where the goal is. So I was just kind of figuring out stage on how should I get started. And I was in lookout of mentors or people whom I could contact for taking advice or guidance in terms of how to get started with design. I also wrote
mm.
a mail to you. I don't remember the date, but yeah, because I was going through your YouTube videos, Instagram. Somewhere I read that you replied to the emails and everything. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember when I did, but I also shared, but I couldn't get a reply.
Mm,
So I just waited. I'm like, yeah, fine, we'll wait for the court and see what happens.
mm. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to look into that, bro. I'll have to look into that email. My backlog for emails is a little long, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
sounds good
figured
too.
you said
Yeah.
that you replied to emails, right? So yeah.
Yeah. So you are a creator as well, right? Like, for example, you do post a lot of shorts on Instagram.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that as well. Like, when was the start of that? Like, and do you consider creator and artist like pretty much the same thing? Like, I was just posting my art online, or was that also a thing that you were considering? Like, hey, I could go, why get into UX design now? Like, I could just go all in on that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah. The creating side of it, or you can say posting on social media, began in lockdown actually when I had to
Mm,
come back from Bangalore where I was pursuing my like higher studies. So when I came back to my hometown, I was left idle with my art supplies, which I left. So I just picked them back up and I started posting my work on social media. And then reels and shorts came into the pictures. And when then I was like, okay, let me just figure out something and pick up my camera and start making videos and everything. People started to like whatever I was posting with my art and however I was doing. But slowly, slowly, it turned out that, as you mentioned, the creator side and the artist side, they were all, there was no thin line difference. They were all just becoming as one while I was
Hmm.
slowly, slowly doing. And then I was subconsciously aware of that, okay, what is happening? But I was not, able to come out of that mode. Ki, yeah, okay. Then I thought maybe I should give it a pause because I am too much involved in making content every day. And maybe I should take a step back because I was maybe, doing that for past 1.5 years, I could say. So then I thought maybe it's time to step out a little bit for a while and then explore some other options that are available wherein I could, do more of what I'm not doing currently. And
Hmm.
that's how the thought came that I should pursue something in design or
Hmm.
get started with design.
Got it. So around that time when you found 10K designers, I'd be curious to know maybe what was like the biggest magnet that attracted you to it? Like what was the biggest factor there?
Okay, so first of all, the biggest magnet I could say is my friend, like who recommended me 10K after I
Hmm.
spoke with him. When once I figured out that Avinav has a YouTube channel, he has a cohort, I told this to my friend who's already a front end developer because I thought he may definitely be knowing what this is all about. And turns out his friends were already taking up your course in the cohort that was ongoing. So I directly spoke with him. I figured out a few more alumni. I spoke with them. I spoke with a lot of people online before I could, get to know more about what 10K exactly is because I had no clue back then. So the reviews which all alumni gave was the main factor that, made me to get into 10K or
Hmm.
take up the course.
Nice. So, from all the stuff that you heard about it, right, speaking to alumni, getting these reviews, to when you were actually in the cohort, right? So, now you're in, it's week one, week two, we're doing it, live sessions, we're seeing each other, doing the assignments and all. What was like maybe the biggest surprise for you once you were finally in? Like maybe what was unexpected about it?
So there were two unexpected things. First was the really well planned cohort, like the
Hmm.
way you and Jenny took the session, the way you structured the session, the way you structured the class, the breakout room. So like the entire experience of the cohort was one major thing that was very surprising to me because I've never had a better cohort than what I have currently experienced in 10K. And second was the community learning that I had because the community I never thought would be so engaging, so interacting because like more than the cohort, like and more than anything else, the peers have taught me a lot apart from whatever I have learned in cohort. So like the equal learnings took outside the classroom as well, along with the cohort ongoing. So these two things were very surprising for me because even though the other alumni have told me that हाँ ऐसा होगा, it turned out to be way better than I expected. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Great to hear that, bro. So let's maybe talk about a little bit later in the cohort journey. Of course, I remember your specific assignments and all that. The different, let's just say, projects that we just had. Let's talk maybe a little towards the end of the cohort. Like, what were some of your wins from this?
So in the cohort, if you say my first major win would be I had the guts to come on Spotlight and show my project to get live feedback. So I would definitely consider that as my first win to come on Spotlight and get my projects and assignments reviewed by both of you. Because I knew a lot of people had experience in design and everything. So I had that fear of will people judge me or anything like that. But then I was like,
Hmm.
"Ki, okay, let me give it a shot. So my first win, I would say, is to get my projects reviewed through you guys in the sessions live in the Zoom meetings. So that was my first win, and then the second major win that I had was the capstone project. So in the capstone project, I took up the Air Tribes capstone project. So before considering that, there were a lot of options which I could pick from, but none of that interested me. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna give it a shot and just avoid capstone project for and all because the problem statement that were there were very interesting, very amazing. But on the very last day of the capstone, you said that no more problems are coming, only to our left. I was very anxious, and then came AirTribe's problem statement
Hmm.
on the platform which the program was hosted. So it was very interesting for me, but I was again skeptical if I should go ahead with this capstone or if I should just leave
Hmm.
it. But then I went ahead I took that capstone project, and then I put my all my learnings, all the efforts and everything in that capstone project. And they offered me, like, they liked my capstone project so much that they offered me an internship. So that was my major win from the cohort, apart
Mm.
from me getting an opportunity to showcase my work. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. And yeah, you're going to be moving to Bangalore, not yet, but moving very soon, right? In just a couple
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm also excited because AirTribe is in HSR layout, and I know that there's so many alumni in HSR because HSR layout, Koramangala, and Indranagar are kind of like the hubs. So I'm also
Yeah.
excited to hear about your experience once you're there later. But yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Bro, I loved hearing that journey, by the way. Just your entire timeline. Like, kind of final question would be if you could time travel, right? So, final question, weird, kind of weird one. If you could time travel and speak to Praful back then, right? Maybe when, and I'll let you pick exactly when, but when you were figuring stuff out, when you were not sure about this, right? This was before 10K. If you could speak to yourself back then, what would you say?
I would just say that don't research too much. If you feel like going with this, just go ahead, because, like, in terms of 10K specifically, if I would have to speak my past self, I would definitely say that close your eyes and go and do it, because there is no better experience that you would have in your life, because it was definitely the best life experience and life changing experience. Because apart from design, I learned so much more than design. Like, the cohort not just has only design to offer, but a much better experience. And the networking that happens is there. So, like, I would just tell to myself to just close my eyes and get ahead with that.
Mm. Nice, nice. And for somebody who's in maybe that position that you were in, where they're kind of figuring out, maybe they have one or two things going on, design is also interesting to them. Any kind of advice you would share?
First you should find an inclination towards, like, you should find your calling in design. Like, if you want to get into UI UX, I would first recommend you to just understand properly what UI UX is, what are the possibilities. And again, like, just not praising you again and again, but your playlist is something which, if somebody goes through, they'll get a very clear picture of what UI UX is, because that is what I did. So I would give the same advice
Mm.
to somebody who's in that position to just maybe go through your playlist on YouTube, and just spend a week maybe with your YouTube channel to get a clarity on if what they are going in for, and what is in UI UX in general, and how should they go about their design journey, because your videos have definitely helped me to figure out my roadmap. And yeah, I would advise somebody else to do the same.
Awesome, bro. One final thing, okay, related to this, which is there's a lot of people who are watching this who are in the future enrolled in, and they're like, oh my God, my week one is about to start next week or whatever. What advice would you give to those people who are enrolled and just at the
I
start?
would just say, do not miss out on the lounge sessions, and do your assignments with groups. Like, do your assignments in the lounge while you are sitting in the lounge, in the live meetups or sessions that you have with your cohort members. Because more than the learnings that you will have, you will get so much more to learn from your peers. So, like, if
Mm.
you are just in the week one, definitely go ahead, speak out with your member, like the cohort members, because 10K designers don't just take in random people, right? You will meet some, talented folks out there. So just don't miss out on the opportunity to network with them and learn whatever you can from them. Like, or, if you're, even if you're introvert or if you're shy, that I should not approach, you will make some of your bestest friends who will be there after the cohort as well.
Awesome, bro. Thanks a lot, Praful. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, everyone.